Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. This week's video is actually a requested video. I've actually been messaged by 2 different people over the last couple weeks asking I perform the same modification to my GT-R. And that is, they want to see me upgrade these ugly US spec yellow blinkers to something a little bit nicer. Now I've got to admit, typically I wouldn't take such a request, but it actually had really good timing because my blinkers are suffering from the same issue a lot of other GT-R owners have. And that is, over time, the metal clip that holds these in place kind of wears out or breaks, and these blinkers will end up wiggling in the body or just flat out fall out. So it was really good timing, and I thought, sure, why not? Now the reason why they asked me to do this modification is they both picked up LED blinkers, which are supposed to stay white when you're driving and then flash yellow when you turn on your blinker, and apparently they're not working as advertised. So I picked up the same blinker they did, and I'm gonna attempt to get it to work as advertised. But before we get to that, there are 2 things I wanna talk about. 1, if you do like automotive, particularly GT-R content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And 2, if you'd like to support the channel, I do have the JD Archer shop. If you go to jdarcher.bigcartel.com, you can see a limited selection of hats and t-shirts that I've designed that are for sale. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started on this project. Before we get started, I'm gonna do what I've done in, well, all of my other videos where I show you how to work on a car, and I first wanna run you through all the tools and parts you're gonna need to get this job done. That way you're not attempting to do it yourself, get about halfway through and realize you need something, and all of a sudden you're looking for an emergency ride to Home Depot or Pep Boys to get something. Now, as with all of my other videos too, every part and tool used in this video will be listed in the description down below. So if this is a job you want to do to your car, all you have to do is go to the description, find what it is you need, click on the link, and it'll take you exactly where you need to go to get that particular item. Now to get started, of course, the main thing we're going to need is the blinkers themselves. These are some nice clear blinkers, as you see, non-yellow with LED. Now, as I said before, I have had reports from other people that these aren't working as advertised, and we're going to attempt to fix that issue. Now, if we have to do any electrical work, you're not going to need a lot of tools. All you're going to need is a simple wire stripper and crimper, and possibly some crimp connectors. This is going to be a very easy job. You're not going to need a lot of tools. Pretty much just these and a flathead screwdriver to get the blinker out. All of which you probably have around the house. If not, like I said, in the description down below. Now, before I get started, I'm going to let you know this job can probably be done with the car on the ground. However, just to make my life easier, I plan on taking the front tires off just to give me some extra room, especially as I start pushing those fender plastics around. Now, to get the GT-R in the air is a real pain because it sits so low, you can't fit a hydraulic jack underneath there, and most ramps from the stores sit at too much of an angle to even clear the bumper. Fortunately, I have finally found an answer to that issue, and it is these. These are the Megan Racing low-profile race ramps. If you have an R32 to an R35 GTR, just buy these now. You're going to need them, especially if you're ever going to do some work on the car yourself. These are the only ramps I've found that actually sit low enough, it'll clear the front bumper so you can get the car high enough to fit a hydraulic jack underneath it to get it in the air. And as I said, link in the description down below. Well, now that all that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get the car in the air, start working. Now that we've got the car up on the ramps, the first thing we're going to do is loosen the lug nuts on the wheel. I did forget to mention when I was talking about the tools, you are going to need a 21mm non-marring lug nut wrench, and this will of course be in the description down below if you need one, and a breaker bar. The reason why you want to break these loose while it's still on the ground is if you jack in the air, this tire spins, you're not going to be able to get the torque to break them loose. But we'll go ahead and get that started, then we'll get it fully in the air and get the wheel off. Now, typically I would jack this up from a jack point in the middle and put some jack stands, but because I figured this is going to be a quicker job, I'm just going to leave it on the jack stand. Not necessarily the best practice, but like I said, quick job. Now the car's in the air, as you can see, the wheels off, get all this space, makes it much more easier to work. To get this blinker off, it's very easy. Just pull back the plastic a little bit, you'll see a little metal tab. You push on it, out it comes. That simple. But as you can see, we're almost ready to get the aftermarket one in. So all you have to do is twist, off this comes, and then you just want to pull out the actual bulb. So here is the new blinker. All you need to do is take this and plug it into where the bulb was. Now, this is an LED, which means these wires are polarized, which means if you first try to turn on and nothing comes on, all you have to do is pull it out and swap it. But we're gonna flip on the headlights to see which one of these lights turn on. All right, so as we saw, it's exactly as the guys online told me. This is working in reverse. So when we turned on the headlights, this light should have turned on, which is white, and then this should only kick on when I hit the blinker. So my theory is that this is a ground that's universal, so this grounds the whole unit. And this is probably the power that's powering the yellow. And this would be the power for the blinker. So if I swap these, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and cut here and run this wire to this, and then run this wire to the blinker. It should, in theory, work the way it's advertised. You definitely want to make sure you leave yourself enough wire to play with. So for right now, I just have it loosely twisted together because I just want to try and dry fit it before I totally commit and see if this actually does fix the issue. No white light. All right, let's try and swap these around. Yep, it is on. So there we go. That was the issue. So we're just gonna go ahead and turn that off, use a butt connector, and then just run this wire up to the blinker, and we should have exactly what we paid for. All right, so that's now solid. Just give it a little tug. Seems pretty good. So now all we have to do is run this. You know what, I'm having a bit of a thought though while I'm doing this. I might see if I have some disconnects that I can put here to attach to this long wire. That way if I have to take this off again, it's much easier. I can just disconnect it from here and the whole thing comes off. All right, so I was very fortunate to have in my kit these breakaways, so I can basically connect the wire, these hook up together, and then that way, if I need to take the blinker off again, it's a lot easier to do. So that's kind of cool. I'll also find these on the Amazon. I'll leave links to them in the description also in case you want to do the same thing. Ooh. These are a little big. Let's see if I got some red ones. All right, so yeah, fortunately I got some red ones. Let's see if these ones fit a little bit better. There we go, that's the magic. Feels pretty solid. That's why you test it. This is a very skinny wire. Okay, this might be an issue. think what I might have to do is fold it over. Just give it a little bit bigger of a bite. All right, that did the trick. Now for the fun part, trying to find the signal wire. Now to get in here, you're gonna have to remove this plastic, which there's gonna be a few clips underneath here, and then a couple of screws along here, and it should get loosened up and you can get your arm back in there. Now we're starting off with the driver's side because it's actually easier because the passenger side has an oil cooler, which means there's a little bit more stuff in the way, which is annoying. So this is always the best place to start. All right, so remember how I said I'm not sure you have to get in the air? You're gonna wanna get at the air. It's just so much easier to get this complete thing out of the way. Now we're seeing 3 wires here for the blinker. Here are the 3 wires to the blinker. You got a blue, you got a black with a red stripe, and here's green. From what I understand, the green is the signal wire, and that's where I will be attaching the spade. So slight change of plan. Instead of dealing with the green wire way up here where if something goes wrong, I don't have a lot of space, I followed this tube down to closer to where the blinker sits. I slice the tube so I can pull the green wire free, and that way I can just attach the spade connector here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that right now. So the kit gave us these to splice into the blinker signal wire. And what it is these kind of open up not very well. You slide it around the wire, you slide your signal wire in here, and then you use to close it, and it's supposed to cut in and do both of them, but you also have exposed wire here. I'm not gonna use that. I use these are called spades. Now this is kind of cool. So you have your signal wire, and this wraps around the signal wire, and you clip it down with some pliers. Then you just have your typical connector that you attach to your wire that I'm gonna attach to the blinker, and then it just slides onto this back piece here, and that's how you get your signal without destroying your wires. So the wire that we're gonna use in here is the green wire, and I'm just gonna go ahead and clamp this on with some, with the pliers. So. And there we go, we're spliced into the signal. All right, so now that the spade is connected to the signal wire, I'm gonna go ahead and hook up this wire. Now, obviously I'm not gonna need this length, so I'm gonna cut it down. Maybe only need about like half of it. Now, as we've learned with playing with the red connectors, this is a very thin wire. It slides out real easy, so I'm going to fold it over 3 times before I crimp it into the blue connector, or sorry, twice, just to make sure I have a big enough circumference for it to grip onto. All right. Okay, that's solid. That was my biggest fear because I've only got 2 of these. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and connect up here. And then just run this wire through here. And I think we're ready to see if we have a fully working blinker. All right, time to test it out. Testing headlight. Testing blinker. So we have a fully working light as advertised. You just gotta switch the power. All right, now for the fun part, putting it actually in the body. See nice clean lines. There we go. So much better. Now, just to do the other side, I'll do that off camera because it's gonna be the exact same thing we did here, and then put the car back together so you can see how it looks with this much nicer, cleaner blinker. All right, so I just had a bit of a panic moment on the passenger side here because this wasn't working properly at first. I did the same trick I did with the wires where I cut the one that went to the lead and then spliced it with the long wire and then spliced the one that went to the lead to the long wire like we did on the other side. But when I originally plugged it in, I had plugged it in this way. Remember how I said these are polarized and sometimes you plug it in upside down, it does something weird? So now as you can see with the headlights on, it has the blinker on without blinking. If you turn on the blinker, it just blinks and the running light doesn't turn on at all. And I was thinking, whoa, did they wire it wrong? Did they wire it differently? Well, the answer to that is no. That is what happens if you plug this in upside down. So now it is plugged in correctly into the blinker one. As you can see, the blinker's on, it's now blinking, and the headlight is now, the running light is now correct. So if you turn off the blinker, this will turn off. And if you turn off the headlights, the running light will turn off. So if you do get these and you rewire them how I showed you and only the blinker's working, not the running light, it's because the plug that goes into this little blinker plug right here is just upside down. Pull it out, flip it around, and everything should work perfectly. And there we are, new blinkers on the R35 GTR. I definitely gotta say, I like the way these ones look a lot better than stock. For some reason, the stock blinkers, the fact that they're kind of that obnoxious yellow, really kind of distracts from the front end, pulls your attention to it, and kind of destroys the lines. This one, because it's smoked and my car's kind of a darker color, kind of blends in more, so it makes the car look a little bit more streamlined. Plus there's this bulge right here where the blinker part is, kind of makes it look a little bit more aggressive. I'm really, really happy with it. Especially with the running lights being white, you know, they kind of make it look a little bit more futuristic instead of dated, you know, because it's an 09 platform and we're in 2022. And of course you got the LED blinkers, which are a little bit brighter, so maybe those people that won't let me over in the middle of the night will finally see my blinkers and let me over, but to be honest, it's LA, they won't do that anyways. But as I can say, I'm very happy with this slight mod. Now, I do want to say if this is a job you're going to do yourself, as you can see, it's a very simple thing to make these work correctly. All you have to do is switch the hot wires. For some reason, they're reversed in the actual compartment. But before you do that, if you do order these up, do a test first, just to make sure that this company hasn't updated their design when they realize there might be a problem. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go hit that thumbs up button to let me know. It does help the channel a lot. If you'd like to see more automotive, particularly GTR content in the future, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on all forms of social media, which include Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter, and I'll leave links to all those in the description down below. Also, don't forget, if this is a job you want to do or you see a tool that you need, I have a link to all the tools and parts in the description as well. In that way, all you have to do is click on the links and get what you need. If you have any questions or you feel there's anything I missed in this video, go and post in the comment section down below. I will respond to you. I thank you all for watching, and until next time, forget everything else, focus on the finish line.